All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Rakha Kodash. Double honors and salutations to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Much respect to you brothers out on the highways and byways pushing this truth with fear and sincerity. And Shalom to the hopeful elect. Shabbat Chalak Har come back at you with another video. And, just thinking about, through the spirit, the sufferings, that we're going to have to go through to make it into the kingdom. What you're currently going through right now is just light work. It ain't nothing compared to when this tribulation is going to really pop off, when we're in the thick of Jacob's trouble, when we're in the hour of temptation. Sitting here meditating and thinking about the perils, the hard times, the going without food, nowhere to stay. You got to be a pilgrim. We're pilgrims now, but you're going to have to probably venture off, going into the wilderness, going house to house, being led by the Spirit, which the Lord will be there to guide you. If you're part of the elect of the nation of Israel, and you're slated through your lot to not receive death, or I wouldn't say not receive death, but won't, because the scriptures say some of us here that won't taste death, right? So thinking about the perils, the things that you're going to have to go through while you're waiting for salvation, waiting for that chariot to come scoop you up out of Babylon the Great, or wherever you might be. There's going to be hell, sufferings that we don't even, can't even imagine, or we imagine it, we meditate on it, but there's no, no proof. We just have faith that we're going to have to go through something, so whatever it might be, you focus on both sides of it. You focus on, perishing in this thing, perishing for Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, perishing for the gospel, getting put to death for the gospel, for this truth, for this understanding, for the testimony of Yahweh Shah. But you also got to think about the ones that's gonna not taste that death, and going through the ups and downs through the spirit, having to go here, having to go there, being here for one day and no food for 5-6 days, maybe a week, only water around. You got to go in the wilderness, got to sleep, in the cold, you got to sleep in the rain. People chasing you, troops chasing you, and we know the scriptures say the Lord is going to lift up like a flood. He gonna roll on the enemy like a flood. When she'll lift up a standard, the Lord is gonna roll like a flood. Paraphrasing. The enemy is gonna roll in like a flood, and the Lord is gonna lift up a standard. So meditate. Think about, as it says in Sirach 39? I think it's Sirach 39. Sirach 39:1. But he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High, and is occupied in meditation thereof. You have to really sit back and analyze and think of what is going to happen. And then at the end of it all, you just have to say, well, the Lord is going to be there with me. The Lord is going to be there with me regardless of whatever I go through, regardless of anything that happens. It's crucial that you remain in the faith. You remain to be faithful, whatever you might be put up against. That's why I said you got to meditate on these things. You got to think about, oh, I won't taste death in this thing. You got to think about tasting death in this thing. You got to think about receiving salvation. You got to think about that Holy Spirit not being taken away from you. You got to think about that Holy Spirit being taken away from you. And pray to the Lord and ask for mercy and beg for mercy. Yahweh Shah went through the sufferings. He went through the mocking, the ridicule, the lying on him. He went through all of that. So how much we? How much we? The scriptures say through much tribulation shall we enter into the kingdom. And we see Jacob's trouble. We see the laws and the mandates. We see that these groups, Antifa, Hamas supporters, anything going against this current government, is what? Is you going to be labeled as a tea timer. Terrorist, a terrorist. So basically you're an enemy of the state. Sedition. So this thing is going to pop off. And when it does pop off, there's no going back. America's already done. It's through. There's no going back. You got millions of people in the world rising up and protesting today, calling it the No Kings rally or whatnot, protest. Which they had one in June. Now they got one here in October in this growing numbers. And the word is, if you're at one of these rallies and it pops off like it shouldn't, you're going to be labeled, with Antifa. You're going to be labeled with Hamas in these things. And we know that we're going to be labeled, with the transgressors. That's, going to war. I wouldn't say going to war, but going against the government. We do it with the scriptures, which we, everybody had the freedom to say what they want, Everybody has the freedom to do that, pursuant to the First Amendment, which is slowly being taken away. Remember, Trump said, we're taking away freedom of speech. You can't burn the flag anymore. And that's just the beginning of it. There's going to be much more hell to come upon the citizens. Upon, mainly you Israelites, man. Jake is being hemmed up in the streets. You got the Northern Kingdom already being rolled on each and every day. You even got the Southern Kingdom now being rolled on, which they out there screaming, we're U.S. citizens. We're U.S. citizens. We're U.S. citizens. ICE and these troops, they don't give a fuck about any of that. Ecclesiastes 39:1, it says, but he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High and is occupied in the meditation thereof will seek out the wisdom of the ancient and be occupied in prophecies. We occupied in prophecies. We are occupied about the end. The end of Esau Edom. The end of his rulership. And at the end of an age, the Lord brings out his prophets, and his prophets condemn this place, They bring out what's going to be ushered in next, what's going to happen, who's going to rule next. And we know Esau is the end of the road, and Jacob is the beginning that followeth. Verse 2 says, he will keep the sayings of the renowned men, and where subtle parables are, he will be there also. Yeah, the renowned men, the prophets. The prophets was before, which, they're back here today. Some of them. I'm gonna read that again. He will keep the sayings of the renowned men. Yeah, the sayings. Like I said, the prophecies. What subtle parables are, he will be there also. He will seek out the seekers of the grave sentences and be conversed in dark parables. So we, when I say we are the hopeful elect, we have this truth, we have this knowledge, we have this understanding, and we are giving our minds over to it. We're persuaded with the understanding as the world. You see Jake's living it up in the world. These ball players, these entertainers. Jake with a little bit of money, think he's doing something. But they don't have this understanding. They don't have this truth. We were called to, suffer for this truth. And us putting our lives on hold, for this understanding, for this knowledge, for Yahweh Shah, because he did it to us. We're counted as fools. We're counted as fools. This 1 Corinthians 4 and verse, I'm going to start at 9 in the NLT. 1 Corinthians 4 and 9 in the NLT, it says, instead, I sometimes think the Most High has put us apostles on display like prisoners of war at the end of victor's parade. Condemned to die, we have become a spectacle to the entire world, to people and angels alike. So the Lord, you can tell we're in the end times. The apostles are on the scene. The apostles are on the scene, right? Not only that, you got brothers out there, teachers, elders, bishops, and we're made a spectacle, foolish. Here in the next verse, it says, verse 10 in the NLT, it says, our dedication to Hamashiach makes us look like fools. But you claim to be so wise in Hamashiach. We are weak, but you are so powerful. You are honored, but we are ridiculed. So we're fools. People look at us. They say, what are these guys doing? Last week when I was out there, you had a bunch of, bugged out individuals walking around. You had a bum sleeping on the ground. It was raining. You had a dude cross the way yelling and screaming and shit out of nowhere. And then I'm right there. So people looking like, this nigga, what is this nigga doing out here? Out here in the rain, the cold by himself, talking about the Bible with this sign and, all of this and all of that. So we're made to look like fools, and that's part of the suffering of this thing, man. You was called to suffer. And that's why I started it off as like, this thing is going to really pop off. That hour of temptation, which is in Revelation 3. Revelation 3 and 10, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will keep thee from the hour of temptation which shall come upon the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. So, again, you're keeping the word of Lord's patience. What is the word? It's Yahweh Shah, his doctrine, the way of like him. You keeping the word of the Lord, Yahweh Shah. He's going to keep you from the hour of temptation. Whether you have to, perish because of the word, or you are able to escape and receive that salvation. Either way, The elect is going to be in those so-called UFO spaceships, and they're going to be beamed up, dead and all. The ones that passed. The graves are going to live. The graves are going to open. They're going to be taken up, put into a new body, and that new body is going to be immortality. As a matter of fact, before I keep going on that, let me go back to this in the wisdom. Wisdom of Solomon 15, them start at 1. But thou, O power, art gracious and true, long-suffering, and in mercy ordering all things. So, long-suffering, that our temptation, that's long-suffering. It's a when I'm at work and they be like, come on, be a team player, just go ahead and get juiced up. And I gotta, hell no, I'm good. Look, I can wear something else. I can do this. And they give you that sad dog puppy looking face. Like, come on, you can do it. And then you gotta wear your mask everywhere, around the building. And then they catch you with it off, and they look at you all disappointed and stuff because you're not wearing your mask right. Well, I can't wear the mask right anyway because I have a beard on my face. So again, it's long suffering because that's where you make your money at. I got to make my money there. And any day they can say, you're not shaving your face, you're not juiced up. So you got to go. We know there's another scamdemic on the way. Even Bill Gates and Fauci said that. So something, another boogeyman is going to pop out. But going back into long suffering and the mercy of order of all things, the Lord made the order, put that in order. Verse 2, it says, for if we sin, we are thine, knowing thy power, but we will not sin, knowing that we are counted thine. For to know thee is perfect righteousness, to know thy power is the root of immortality. So that root of immortality, that hour you've been kept for the hour of temptation because you are keeping from sin. You following the Lord, you following his commands, you believe, you walking in the ways. Read that again, Revelation 3:10, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Behold, I'll come quickly, hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. Him that overcometh, I will make him a pillar of the temple of my power, and he shall go no more out. And I will write upon him the name of my power and the name of the city of my power, which is New Jerusalem, which cometh down out of heaven from the Most High. And I will write upon him my new name. New Jerusalem, that immortality coming down, being beamed up, then being beamed right back down on earth in the twinkling of an eye. Being righteous, immortality. I'm going to go back to wisdom. In wisdom 3:15-3, it says, for ye know that for to know thee is perfect righteousness, to know thy power is the root of immortality. For neither did the mischievous inventions of man deceive us, that ship, nor the image spotted with diverse colors, the painter's fruitless labor, the sight whereof entices fools to lust after it, and so they desire the form of a dead image that has no breath, that image of the beast. This new world order, people going to be flocking to get in bed with that new world order. People are going to line up because they're going to that squeeze that they're going to put, that suffering. That's why I said this thing going to really pop off, man. It's really going to pop off. You got to really think about this day and night. You got to really hone in We got lives to live here. We got jobs. We got people counting on us. We got animals counting on us and whatnot. You know, and you counting on yourself. You counting on the spirit to keep you away from all of this, man. You know, to keep you away, keep you safe. Or die honorable death. Either way, either way. That's why this thing of ours is, you gotta suffer in it. You know, you gotta to get to where we're going. You're gonna have to go through hell. That's just, and this what we're going through right now. It's light. I can't stress enough how light this is for right now. It's light right now. This is Romans 8:16. The Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of the Most High. And if the children, then be heirs, heirs of the Most High, and joint heirs with Hamashiach, if so be that we suffer with him, that we may be also glorified together. So Jake out here saying, why we got to go through it? We went through slavery, we went through being ate by alligators, shot by the police, can't get loans, can't do this, and Babylon the Great. Well, you was brought here to suffer. You wasn't brought here to live a prosperous life. You under the curses, Jake. Jake got there, turn on the camera, rant for 2.5 minutes, and then turn off the camera and go back, post a meme, and then go back and then don't ask why. Or don't want to try to seek to the bottom of it. And then, Jacob run across the prophets, run across a video, and oh damn that, forget that Bible stuff, man. Forget that Bible stuff, man. That Bible stuff it ain't helped us. That Bible been here forever. It ain't helped us. Well, you don't know the truth of the Bible. And then you got people that hop on the internet that go against the Bible because they heard other groups. They haven't heard, the doctrine of Great Millstone. They haven't heard Yahweh Shah's doctrine. They haven't heard the apostles, the elders, the bishops. They heard this flashy gimmick, piecemeal type of teachings, and they get turned off. I remember in the beginning, I was turned off by a lot of Israelites, but something was like, no, you got to continue to watch. You got to continue to try to get to because I was just turned off by some of these Israelites, Wi-Fi, Sakari, IUIC. It wasn't fitting right. I understood what they were saying. Like, I was like, okay, we the Israelites, we this, we that. Yeah, that sounds good. But the way y'all are going about it it don't seem, valid to me. Something's missing. And it wasn't until I heard Apostle Gabar, and I was like, this is it. I shed a tear. Because I said, this is what I've been looking for. And it took me about 1.5 years to even get there. Verse 18, it says, for I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. Yeah, this suffering is not going to, the glorious, the kingdom of heaven. You're going to have what you thought of, what you wanted, what you especially in these bodies, what we're thinking about now. We're thinking about the things that we want in the kingdom of heaven. We're thinking about how the kingdom of heaven is going to be, the Hamalakwa. We're thinking about how glorious we're going to be with Hamashiach, our King David, the 12. We're thinking about how glorious and ultimately not passing away, not perishing, immortality. Righteousness is immortality. Well, let me get that real quick, because I know that's in Wisdom 1. Wisdom 1 and 8, I think. No. Wisdom 1 and 15. Wisdom 1 and 15, for righteousness is immortal, Salakia. For righteousness is immortal, so this glory that's going to be, which shall be revealed in us, is immortal. You can't pass. You got superpowers. You can walk through walls. You can hear conversations from miles away. You can be somewhere in a drop of a hat. Could you imagine? You can't even really put that into perspective, because that if we're part of that number, that's been taken away from us. That's been wiped clean. There's no remembrance of the former things, as the scriptures say. It says, for I reckon, let me read that again, for I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. For the earnest expectation of the creature waiteth for the manifestation of the sons of the Most High. For the creature was made subject to vanity, not willing, but by reason of him who has subject the same in hope, because the creature itself also shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption and the glorious liberty of the children of the Most High. Let me read this in the NLT. I'm starting at 19. For all creation is willingly eager, for waiting eagerly for the future day when the Most High will reveal who his children really are. Against its will, all creation was subject to the Most High's curse, but with eager hope. That's talking about your Israelites, subject to the curses. The creation looks forward to the day when it will join the Most High's children in glorious freedom from death and decay. That's that immortality. Immortality. Verse 22 says, I'm going to get back in the KJV. Verse 22, for we know that the whole creation groaneth and travaileth in pain together until now, and not only they, but ourselves also, which have the first fruits of the Spirit, even we ourselves groan within ourselves, waiting for the adoption, to wit, the redemption of our body. For we are saved by hope, but hope that is seen is not hope. For what a man seeth, why doth he hope for? Yet he hope for. But if we hope for that we see not, then do we with patience wait for it. So this whole thing of ours, we're patiently waiting. We're patiently waiting, in sufferance and silence. Not even in silence, but in crying out. Ezekiel 9:4, crying out to the Lord for the abominations done in the midst thereof. Suffering, patiently in righteousness. Waiting for the enemy to give that green light. Go with your move, Esau. Give that green light to do what he's going to do. We can't wait for Esau to get on and do what he said he's going to do. Roll on the tribes. Nero 47, persecuting the Christians. That cruel Lord. We're waiting on him. And that day is coming. That day is coming. Verse 26 says, likewise the Spirit also helpeth our infirmities, for we know not what we should pray as we ought, but the Spirit itself maketh intercession for us with groanings which cannot be uttered. And he that searcheth the hearts knoweth that what is in the mind of the Spirit, because he maketh intercession for the saints according to the will of the Most High. So the Lord knows your spirit. 2 Ezra 16 and 54. The Lord knows what's going on in your mind. He put it there. He put it there. Verse 28, and we know that all things work together for good to them that love the Most High, to them who are called according to his purpose. We all been called in this thing. We all have been, tapped on the shoulder and called. Doesn't mean we're chosen. We're striding. We're being diligent. We're striding for, to be of that number, to be chosen, to be on fire and keep the fire lit. To keep that fire lit, to keep going, to push the names of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, to resist the devil, to keep going hard as you can, to keep on going. The finish line, man. No matter what you go through in this thing, that's the biggest thing. Like, you're gonna go through it, man. You're gonna go through ups and downs. You're gonna go through things like, why am I thinking like this? Why is this happening? Everything is not gonna be just gravy. Everything is not gonna be easy. And it's just preparing your spirit for even harder times, for even harder situations. You're gonna have to make decisions. What do I do in this situation? You're gonna have to listen to the Spirit. The Spirit is gonna guide you. If you're of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, the Spirit will guide you. You have nothing to worry about. Man, let me get this too. For whom he did foreknow, he also did predestinate to be conformed to the image of his Son, that he might be the firstborn born among many brethren. Moreover, who he did predestinate, them he also called, and whom he called, them he also justified, and whom he justified, he also glorified. So you predestined in this thing from the beginning. From the beginning, you predestined to receive salvation. You predestined to go through hell, catch hell in this thing. Salvation, catching hell leads to salvation. It leads to salvation. You're called to suffer. Get used to it. Wear suffering like a badge of honor. Wear suffering on your right shoulder, on your sleeve, on your heart. I think Apostle Paul said he rather, he want to go back to the spiritual realm, but he know he has to do the work here. We all want to check out and just, go be with the Lord, but the Lord is using your body for a vessel. And if you stay in this thing, if you don't fold, you keep going, you keep pushing, then there's a very good chance you're in a higher chance than anybody else that's not pushing, that's not doing the ways, and that's not walking in the ways. Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, 2 Corinthians 1:1, it says, Paul, an apostle of Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, Salakia, getting a little excited. Paul, an apostle of Yahweh Shah HaMashiach by the will of the Most High, and Timothy, our brother, unto the church of the Most High, which is Corinth, with all the saints which are in Achaia, or Achia, grace be unto you and peace from the Most High, our Father, and from the Lord Yahweh Shah HaMashiach. Blessed be the Most High, even the Father of our Lord Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, the Father of mercies and of power of good comfort, all comfort. Mercies. We're begging for mercies. We're begging for comfort. In a time of, that word comfort, when you break it down, come is together and fort is strong together. So we're looking for that comfort from Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, Yahweh Shah, who comforted us in all our tribulations, that we may be able to comfort them which are in any trouble by the comfort wherewith we ourselves are comforted of the Most High. You hear that? We're strong together with the Most High through His Son, Yahweh Shah. Because all our tribulations that we're going to have to go through, man, keep going back to this suffering. You know, some of us probably won't suffer. Some of us probably won't have to, well, I won't even say that. You know, you never know. Some of us might just, you know, the income, the MOTB comes, you know, the Lord guides you, got you with people that's, you know, you just never know. That's why, Salakia, my eye itch like crazy. Got coal in it. You know, you never know. That's why it's always putting your trust in Yahweh Shah HaMashiach. I'm going to read that verse 4 in the NLT. It says, He comfort us in all our troubles so that, He comfort us in all our troubles so that we can comfort others when they are troubled. We will be able to give them the same comfort God has given us. And it's the scriptures, it's truth. Verse 5, back in the KJV, it says, For as the sufferings of Hamashiach abound in us, so is our consolation also aboundeth in Hamashiach. Let's look at that word consolation real quick. Consolation, a calling, supplication, entreaty, summons, exhortation, admonition, admonition, encouragement, comfort, calling. Verse 6, and whether we be afflicted, it is in your consolation and salvation, which is effectual in our enduring of the same sufferings which we also suffer, or whether we be comforted, it is our consolation and salvation. And our hope of you is steadfast, knowing that ye are partakers of the sufferings, so shall ye be also of the consolation. You know, so that calling, you know, calling the suffering, partakers of the suffering, seeing this wicked-ass world, being part of this wicked-ass world, you know, seeing that it's the people are wicked, the women are wicked, the men are wicked, the children are wicked, the teachings are wicked. It's all Satan, ran by Satan, the adversary, to pull you deeper and deeper away from Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, or Yahweh Shah. These talking heads, these entertainers get on these podcasts and videos, and these Christians get on these videos. They get together, have a dinner, and talk about the Most High and talk about the Bible like they know it. And they don't know it. They got all these different ideas. It just makes your head spin, man. It makes your head hurt. And you wish you can just jump into the screen and be like, yo, you know, but you got to just let it be what it be. Don't worry about the wicked, how they're going to be punished. You know, worry about how the righteous is going to receive salvation. And yeah, we're commanded to do that, you know. Verse 8. I'm reading in, verse 8. For we would not, brethren, have you ignorant of our troubles, which came to us in Asia, that were pressed out of measure above strength, and so much that we despair even of life. You know? We get Isaiah 30 and verse 20. I'll start at 18. Isaiah 30 and 18. It says, and therefore will the Lord Yahweh wait, that he may be gracious unto you, and therefore will he be exalted, that he may have mercy upon you. For the Lord Yahweh is a power of judgment. Blessed are all they that wait for him. For the people shall dwell in Zion at Jerusalem. Thou shalt weep no more. He will be very gracious unto thee at the voice of thy cry. When he shall hear it, he will answer thee. And though the Lord give you the bread of adversity and the water of affliction, yet shall not thy teachers be removed into a corner anymore, but thy eyes shall see thy teachers. So we are commanded to wait. Patience is suffering. That's what the word means. You got to suffer in this thing. You got to patiently wait. Wait for me until I rise up against the prey. Wait for me. Because the Lord hears our cries. He hears our moaning and groaning. There's a lot of moaning and groaning going on right now, but who are they calling? They're not calling on the Lord. I'm talking about these various different Israelites that's out here calling on, earth dirt and earth pig, calling on, God, which you can call on God, but you got to put the Lord's name in his rightful terms, Yahweh, and the Son name is Yahweh Shah. If you don't do that, then you just don't got it. The Lord has given us the bread of adversity, and the water of affliction. But we understand. We see how we learn from our apostles and our elders of Great Millstone, our brothers, teachers, and we coming in the same like manner. The same like manner. That's why you got to continue to fight for this thing. Continue to fight. Continue to fight. Continue to pray. Continue to walk in the ways of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah. And you're gonna find comfort. You're gonna find that comfort. Isaiah 61. And 1, the Spirit of the Lord power is upon me, because the Lord Yahweh has anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prisons of them that are bound, to proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord Yahweh, and the day of vengeance, and our power, to comfort all that mourn, to appoint unto them that mourn in Zion, to give unto them the beauty of ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they might be called trees of righteousness, and planting of the Lord Yahweh, that he might be glorified. So that comfort, there's comfort in what we're going through. Count it all joy when the Lord brings this heaviness on you. Sirach 2. Count it all joy. So that's it on that. Call to suffer. What is suffering? Like a badge of honor. Suffering, patience, something. I don't know what the title is going to be, but it'll be something. So, I hope you was edified. I hope you got something out of this. Hope to see you on the next video, Lord.